Welcome to my video about my Business Grimoire. You may be asking, what? Yeah, a grimoire is traditionally where a witch keeps all of her spells. I call this my Business Grimoire. Excuse the French, I use Google Translate, because spells are a way to focus your intention on what you want to happen. And that's exactly what I do in this book with my plans and coaching calls with clients. This page is filled with notes from a coaching call with a vegan blogger having an existential crisis. It's one of my favorite topics since I have those several times a year myself. I love having these large blank pages to take notes while my client is talking. Oh, hey Diane. That's one of my dogs. I can box in, circle, and put creative emphasis on various topics, and it's much easier than writing in a software program, and it lets me focus on her. I do some rough drafts of doodles in here before I sketch them in my official art notebook. Here's my crowded brain infopreneur on her chaise lounge. These pages are dedicated to another coaching client who wanted to have a deeper understanding of her new brand. She's an artist and a graphic designer who works with rock stars and fashion designers. I loved listening to her talk about her inspirations and dreams. I typed up all of these notes after our call and pieced them together into a comprehensive picture of who she was. I love making mind maps for clients. This one was for a woman with a very successful Etsy shop. She was having trouble finding time to make custom orders, so we plotted out her options, then dug a little deeper into each option, seeing which ones would be the most appealing and viable for her business. Here's another mind map for the same client. She was feeling overwhelmed, as we all do sometimes. I helped her set priorities, including non-business priorities that take time and energy, and helped her plan out achievable goals for the next few months, accomplishing 1 to 10 outcomes per week instead of being unclear on what she needed. There's my favorite philosopher. This is one of my early attempts to narrow down what I wanted to talk about in my blog and business. I ended up choosing to focus mostly on the personal development topics. It's always been my biggest passion, and I could incorporate things from the other topics within that one. It's just nice to see all your options laid out. Planning out a landing page is hard to do in your actual website, so I like to set them up in my grimoire. I wrote down what I need to be on the page, then I went into detail about each section. This is for my media detox program, which will launch again soon as a free email mini course. I drew this self-portrait on New Year's Eve of 2015. 2014 was a tough year. I was depressed, had a lot of headaches and other issues. I was ready to put that year to bed and say hello to a symbolic new start. Eating seems to be a tedious chore when you're jamming out on work stuff, so I try to plan out my meals ahead of time. I later started using Scrivener to plan out my menu, grocery list, and collect recipes, and now I have 10 weeks worth of menus and grocery lists. I can just choose a week that looks yummy and I'm set. I made this brainstorm of programs to create in 2016 when I was calling my business Revolution U. That was just before the boom of everyone in my genre using the word revolution for everything. I got sick of hearing it, but I'm still working with these topics and have several of these courses outlined and in various stages of production. This is a visual representation of the components of 2 different programs. The center box represents the main course, and the outer boxes are the opt-in, bonus workshops, and other things I would need to create to offer with each of the programs. Here's a great visual inspired by Mariah Cause from Femtrepreneur. She suggests taking your annual income goal, then you break it down by product and source of traffic so you know how much of your income would come from each one and how much of your audience would be feeding into each of these products. All of these papers inside the book are outlines of a course. This table is a quick description of what my brand is and is not. I've done this exercise several times over the years. It's always a good reminder when writing what my tone needs to be. I find it helpful to map out my courses as stories with a transformation for the main character, which would be you or whoever enrolls. This is the story mapping for my mini course, Get Started, Get Going. This is where I did some rough sketches of some drawings for a blog post I did recently. And that's going to wrap up our Grimoire tour for now. Did you enjoy this? Do you have any questions about any of the pages? Will you start your own business grimoire? Let me know in the comments of the linked blog post.